Good afternoon.
I guess you guys wondered if the guy who's running around taking all the pictures and whatnot actually had a voice or was going to do anything more than that. What is he here for today? Well, yes, he does. I'm Max Knighten. I'm a program manager also for the Center of Health and Justice at TASC. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about racial equity in deflection. As a matter of fact, racial deflection actually is and provides racial equity. First of all, let me congratulate you all on the launch of this wonderful initiative. I know a lot of people have done a lot of work and put in a lot of hours to make this happen. And once again, especially since it's after the break and you've got all these cars, once again, you need to get active. So give yourselves another round of applause for that. And I know that even though this room was pretty full, that everybody that started off here with you all many weeks ago is no longer here. But don't feel bad about that, because that's what happens when rockets launch. When a rocket launches, as it's headed to its heavenly destination, it loses stages, things that helped it to get to that point, but that it no longer needed or were no longer necessary. And so those drop off, and the essential part is what makes it, and you all are the essential part. Story is told of a Southern Illinois gentleman. As a matter of fact, two Southern Illinois veterans, as a matter of fact. One had become very successful with his ranch. And he hadn't seen his buddy in a long time, since they had been deployed. So he called him up and invited him down to his ranch to take a look at things and to relax and enjoy some of the luxuries, that come along with success like that. His friend accepted, so he went, he flew on in, and he drove over to Veterans Airport and picked him up and brought him over to his ranch. They got there, and as they were driving down the road, they had entered the gate to the ranch, and as they were driving down the road to the house, his friend noticed the barn. And on the barn, he saw all these different targets. Every last one of them. And he noticed something about the targets, that on every single target, every single shot was a bullseye. Not a one stray shot on any of them, whether it was the shotgun, the pistol, or the arrows. This guy was a perfect marksman. So his friend asked me, he said, "Hey man, where did you learn how to shoot like that? You weren't shooting like that when we were in the service together. How'd you learn that, man? What a skill." He said, "Oh man, it was easy." He said, "First, I did my shooting. Then I went and I painted the target around the holes." I'm here today to talk about equity and deflection, because you all have done such tremendous work in your initiative, and we want to make sure that it stays that way. We don't want you to have to go back and paint the target around the holes. We want to hit the bullseye and make sure that you stay right on target from now on. First, we're going to start off with a couple of definitions, because I know that different words mean different things to different people. Diversity. Intentionally, that's one of the key words here, intentionally seeking to engage the program, the staff, the volunteers, engaging people from the community to make sure that the initiative reflects the community and the community makeup. Doesn't matter what the demographics of your particular community are, all of them need to be represented in the initiative. Equity equity, so diversity is about the actual initiative itself. Equity, on the other hand, is about the people who you're serving, who you're presenting the services to. It gives them the fair opportunity to access the services that you're providing. Yeah, I could go into real complicated, definitions and whatnot, but that's what it is. It's about the people you're serving and making sure that they all, regardless of race, color, creed, national origin, sexual orientation, that they all have access to the services that are being offered. How do we approach this? Through our national work, as Corin had described earlier, not only over those 50, 60 years did we find that providing these services actually stop people from either returning into the justice system or going further into the justice system once they receive those services. Not only did we find that out, but we also found some huge racial disparities. Huge. There were so many injustices that were found over the years that it was absolutely necessary, and as your police department have noted, we couldn't arrest ourselves out of these issues. So we have to intentionally make sure that we're doing something to curb the damages that were done then and to prevent them from happening any further. So in that, we discovered these core elements. These are some of the things that we have to do. To ensure diversity, we have to constantly assess the initiative. We have to take a look at the leadership, at the teams, and make sure that they continue to reflect the people that are receiving the services. For equity, we have to rely on the data that we collect. We have to look at the data, look at the numbers of the people that we're serving, and make absolutely sure that those people are represented. Now, does that mean that we just fire everybody, because there are some differences? No. There's different ways through attrition. People leave the initiative. Make sure that your initiative remains diverse. Your initiative grows. Maybe you pick up a new pathway, okay, or something along that nature. It grows. You're adding services. Those are different ways that you can ensure that diversity remains within the initiative. And make sure that you are paying attention to that data that you're getting to be sure that the services are available to those that need them. At this point, you've already done the work. You put in the elbow grease and you put together a pretty solid initiative. And as of tonight, you'll be on your way, up and on your way. At this point, I challenge you that you do these steps as you go forward. Make sure that your initiative leadership includes all the groups that are impacted by substance use disorder, okay, in your community. And continue to promote and evaluate the work that you're doing. Make sure that your deflection teams reflect those groups. People are more apt to seek services and receive services from those that either look like them or have experiences similar to them. So you want to be sure that either your teams, your deflection teams, reflect those groups, or at least they have a specific strategy to address those groups. This is not, recovery is not a one-size-fits-all type of show. So you have to make sure that all of your efforts reflect those who you're servicing, and that the approach reflects those or fits those that you're servicing. Deploy the teams in the areas where the greatest challenges exist. Send them make sure that your focus is where the problem is. That makes sense to have a wonderful initiative on this side of town, but yet instill all the substance use disorder and all those instances on that side of town. Deploy those teams to where they are needed the most. Finally, the services that you're offering, all of the other services, not just the treatment services, but all the services have to be accessible to all the community groups. Corin talked about the pathways to deflection. And we call them pathways because for so many years, there were so many barriers to so many people that instead now we are showing them through deflection, we're showing them ways that they can access those services. So let's be sure that everybody has access to all of the housing services that you were talking about providing, to the treatment services that you mentioned earlier, to other community services, to food, and other wraparound services that you're offering. We also found that one of the major problems the major problem that has existed, the major blocking that has been there is distrust. Distrust not just from one group, but from each group, within each group, toward each group. Mm-hmm. Police arrest Max. And they say, man, Max is not going to do nothing. We're going to be right back out here again. We arrested him 10 times. We're going to be arresting him 10 more. Max is like, man, you telling me I can walk into a police station with my works, with my drugs and tell them I need help? Man, last time I came close to a police station, they arrested me. I'm not buying that. Treatment. Max has been in here 7 times and he still ain't getting it. Why should we need to impose treatment limits to stop people like him from coming up in here, because he's not going to do anything. Max, on the other hand, is like, man, I done been to treatment 7, 8 times, man. Y'all ain't doing nothing for me. I'm still out here with this problem. Or Max goes to the local food pantry and and he's there and he can hear them whispering in the background, that's all he wants. He just want to come in here, man, and get a check every month. All he do is spend it on drugs. And then he come up in here for food for him and his family. There's been distrust on all levels by all people over a whole lot of time. Research might have started 50, 60 years ago, but the mistrust, it goes way before that. So what we have to do is assess and find out what the degree of distrust is in our community. We have to continue to invite people to the table who can inform us of what's really going on out there, how people really are looking at us when we're performing or offering these services. Do a focus group. Okay, take a couple bucks out your budget and set it aside to do a focus group. When you pay people for information, you're usually going to get exactly what it is that you're looking for. So we suggest forming a focus group, maybe 6, 8 months down the line. The bottom line is that you build trust through robust and honest communications, talking to one another, continuing to show up. You all are here. You've been showing up for months. Continue to show up now that you're about to launch for the people who you are servicing. Continue to listen to them. Continue to reach out to them. Continue to ask them what it is that they need or what it is that they want to see. A couple of very valuable resources that will help you in this particular part of your initiative are listed up here. Feel free to scan the QR codes. One is from the Bureau of Justice Assistance. That's the federal government's wing or their answer to the substance use and opiate crisis in the country. And that one was put together by our colleagues at NOBLE, the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives. That's an excellent resource, as well as the organization that Jack mentioned earlier, the Police Treatment and Community Collaborative, PTAC. Those are two wonderful resources and two things that will help you to stay in check, to get in check and make sure that your initiative stays in check as far as racial equity and diversity are concerned. Let me finish by saying, on a lighter note, in the movies, when you go to the movies, if you get there early enough, you'll see these things called previews of coming attractions. These are the hot clips of the upcoming shows that will be coming soon to a theater near you. Now, the movie may not be nothing once it gets there, but you'll never know it by the clips because the clips are hot. The whole purpose of the clips is to get you to buy a ticket to the upcoming show. Those clips are usually either the fight scene, the chase scene, or the love scene. And again, you never know that the show was nothing because the clips are scalding hot. LEAP Initiative, you're bringing a brand new show to town. You're the directors and you're the producers. And your audience is out there waiting. And your job is to make this show so hot that they're gonna buy a ticket to that show. When you provide shelter to that person that's been deflected to you instead of taken into jail, you're a hot clip of the upcoming show. When you provide treatment to that guy who's never tried treatment before and who's never trusted anybody, you're a hot clip to the upcoming show. Instead of arresting that guy, you send him to get help with a problem that he's been dealing with for years that has caused him to lose his family, lose his home, lose everything he had. You're a hot clip to the upcoming show. And your job is to make the clip so hot that they're gonna want to buy a ticket to that upcoming show. And when they ask you, hey man, I want to buy a ticket, you tell them, you don't have to buy a ticket. Through Deflection, the price has already been paid. Thank you very much.
Oh, wow.